Have you ever watched a person's soul leave their body? I have. It happened in a sterile, soulless lawyer's office on the 47th floor of a skyscraper overlooking downtown Chicago. The air was thick with the scent of expensive leather and betrayal. Across the polished mahogany desk, my wife Amelia stared at me, her perfectly made-up face a mask of confusion. The mask was about to crack. She was clutching a copy of my will, the one she thought guaranteed her half of the life I'd built. A life she had systematically poisoned behind my back. She didn't know it yet, but her life was already over. It had been over for 187 days, ever since I saw her name flash on a hotel receipt that wasn't mine. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. Our story, Amelia's and mine, had been a Chicago fairy tale. We met at a fundraiser at the Art Institute, two ambitious people drawn together. I was building my logistics empire from the ground up. She was a rising star in real estate. We married under the Tiffany Dome at the Chicago Cultural Center. Our life was a curated collection of beautiful moments. Brunch at the 3 Arts Club Cafe. Walks along the lakefront, the city lights twinkling from our penthouse on North Michigan Avenue. For 10 years, I believed I had it all. I believed in us. The first crack in that belief was almost invisible. It was a shift in her energy, a new coldness in her eyes that I dismissed as stress from her job. Then came the late nights, the client dinners that stretched into the early morning hours. She'd slip into bed smelling of a perfume I didn't recognize and the faint, metallic scent of a lie. The real discovery began with a single piece of paper, an American Express receipt from the Langham Hotel left carelessly on the dresser. It was for a 2-night stay. I hadn't been to the Langham in years. Her name was on it, clear as day. When I asked her, her voice was smooth, practiced. Well, that was for a client, honey. A big investor from Dubai. The company paid for it. She was so convincing, so dismissive of my concern, that I almost believed her. But a seed of doubt had been planted. It grew in the dark, watered by her increasingly strange behavior. Her phone, once left casually on the counter, was now glued to her hand, its screen always angled away from me. One night, I woke at 2 a.m. to the faint blue glow of her phone screen from the bathroom. The door was ajar. I heard her whispering, a low, intimate murmur that was never meant for me. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. It was the sound of a secret. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I came home early, planning to surprise her with reservations at Alinea for our anniversary. I walked into our bedroom and found her on the phone, her back to me. "I miss you too, Julian," she whispered, a soft, breathy sound that twisted a knife in my gut. He has no idea. He's so wrapped up in his work, he wouldn't notice if the building was on fire. She laughed, a light, cruel sound. Julian? The name echoed in the silent room. Julian Vance, a slick developer she'd been working with. I'd met him once. He had a smug smile and a handshake that was too firm, the kind of man who thought he was untouchable. In that moment, watching her, the floor fell out from under my world. The love I had for her curdled into something cold and heavy. I backed out of the room silently, my heart a block of ice in my chest. The man who had walked into that room died. A different man walked out. For the next 6 months, I became a ghost in my own life. I played the part of the devoted, oblivious husband. I smiled at her, kissed her, listened to her fabricated stories about her day, but inside I was meticulously gathering proof. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who operated out of a dusty office in the Loop. He was expensive, but he was the best. He gave me everything. Photos of Amelia and Julian kissing in a parking garage in River North. Credit card statements detailing their weekend getaways to Miami, staying at the Fontainebleau. Recordings of their phone calls filled with their contempt for me and their plans for my money. Every piece of evidence was a fresh wound, but it was also a stone in the foundation of my revenge. I opened a new bank account, secretly diverting funds. I met with my lawyer, a shark named Marcus Thorne. We drafted a new will, leaving everything to a charity for stray animals. The old will, the one Amelia knew about, was now just a piece of paper. The trap was set. I chose our anniversary, the day of my planned surprise, as the day to spring it. I let her believe we were going to Alinea. She got dressed up, wearing a stunning red dress I'd bought her, the picture of a loving wife. Instead of driving to the restaurant, I drove to Marcus's office building. "What are we doing here?" she asked, a flicker of annoyance in her eyes. "A little anniversary surprise," I said, my voice chillingly calm. We rode the elevator up in silence. The moment we walked into the conference room and she saw Marcus sitting there with a stack of files, her smile faltered. "What is this?" she demanded. I didn't answer. "I just sat down and nodded to Marcus," began. He laid out the photos, the bank statements, the transcripts. With each new piece of evidence, the color drained from Amelia's face. Her arrogance crumbled, replaced by a raw, primal fear. She looked at me, her eyes pleading. "It's not what it looks like," she stammered. "I can explain." "No," I said, my voice devoid of all emotion. "You can't." That's when Marcus slid the new will across the table. "My client updated his last will and testament 187 days ago," he said, his voice flat. "Your name does not appear in it. Furthermore, we have filed for divorce on the grounds of adultery. All the evidence you see here has been submitted to the court, given the terms of our prenuptial agreement. You will be leaving this marriage with exactly what you brought into it. Nothing." Amelia stared at the document. Her breath came in ragged gasps. She looked from the will to my face, searching for the man she married, the man who would have forgiven her anything. He wasn't there. All she saw was a stranger with cold, empty eyes. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and she collapsed, fainting right there in the chair. The sound of her body slumping was the first satisfying sound I'd heard in 6 months. The legal battle was brutal, but short. The evidence was overwhelming. Julian was named in the divorce proceedings, and his own wife left him, taking him for everything he had. Amelia was a social pariah. Her reputation was destroyed. She lost her job, her friends, her home. The last I heard, she was living in a small apartment in a less desirable part of town, a shadow of the woman she used to be. Sometimes late at night, I stand by the window of my penthouse, looking out at the city lights. I don't feel triumph. I don't feel joy. I just feel quiet. The silence in the apartment is a heavy blanket. I won. I destroyed her. But the ghost of the man I used to be haunts this empty home. The cost of revenge is a piece of your own soul.